So I'm out for another wild camp. Today we're on Hallam Fell in the English Lake District. I'm going to be doing an in-depth overview of the Cloud Peak 2 by Naturehike, and we're going to see how it performs on the fells of England's Lake District. We're not alone today though. As you can see, we've got quite a crowd. I think they're all waiting to watch that sunset. I'm just going to go back an hour or so and show you the tent being set up. The tent didn't come in this dry sack. Everything came in one green bag, which looks something like this, and then all I've done is split everything down so it fits better into my pack. If you want to keep it in the original pack, the poles and the stakes fit in this bag nicely, but I think it makes much more sense to break it down so it fits into your pack a lot easier. There's plenty of information on the tags that come attached, and also in the bag there's full instructions on how to erect the tent. I'll get it pitched up. Let's take the tent out of the bag. Make sure you put this in your rucksack so it doesn't blow away. Get a couple of tent stakes to hand. These are the stakes that come with the tent. They're made of aluminium. There's also some little loops to make them easier for pulling out. Put your first stake in just to secure the tent to make sure it's not going to blow away. I've got a few more stakes in. I've just pegged out the four corners of the living space. This also pegs the footprint down as well. Now I'm going to think about adding some poles. These are made out of 7001 aluminium, simply snap together, which is standard for most tents nowadays. All three poles are the same length, and they have these little locating ferrules on the end which slot into these eyes in the corners of the tent. Each pole has a slight pre-bend in it, so I'm just going to lay the poles over the tent. Made a bit of a star shape. I'll lock the first pole inside the little slot and go to the opposite corner of the hexagonal shape and bend the pole up and then slot the other end in. But before letting go, I'm just going to put this first clip around the pole, and that gives it a little bit of structure. I'm going to go over to the other side and do exactly the same. That's now holding the tent pole in position. I'm now going to repeat the process on each side of the hexagon. So lock in, just lock in the little ferrule inside the hole. In fact, I'm going to clip this one on already. Go around the opposite side, ferrule in the hole, clip it on. First clip in place. There we go. There's my hexagonal base. To finish the structure, just walk round and clip each one on. It's really starting to take shape now. Once you have all of those clips in place, move on to these top clips, which I clip onto the pole that goes over the top. So not that one, this one. Same again, one over the top and the final one. So you can see all of those. Already the tent is really taut. It's only been held in with 4 pegs. There's 2 mesh panels in the top which give you your ventilation. There's a second, and to ensure the tent is fully waterproof, we just clip this on. It does go on a certain way, so to make it easier for me, I put a little bit of white string there and a little bit of white string there, so I know where it goes. So you put the hook through the hole. It's a little bit windy, as you can tell, so this is difficult, and it's just a case of fixing the top cover by putting each hook in each hole. Here's the final one. There we go. Tent's now sealed and the ventilation goes through here. The reason I didn't peg it out fully to start off with is that I want to be able to move the tent around so I get the optimum position. The great thing about this tent is it's fully freestanding, so you can pick it up and move it where you want. So I'm going to move it to where I get the best views from either door. I do need to be careful though, because it's very windy today. I don't want my tent going over the edge. I wouldn't be doing this if it was really blowing a gale. I'm just going to move the tent around. I have kept one stake in at the moment, as you can see. I'm going to take that out now. Move the tent about. We've got a nice flat spot there. In fact, I like that one because then this door overlooks Ullswater that way and the other door overlooks that way. So now to peg it out, you see the loops here. They aren't adjustable. That might be something that I change. But so far I haven't felt the need to, because you can just add tension really easily. As you can see here, if you just pull on that, that yellow tape tightens up. So that stops you pulling the tent out of shape. And this last fella adds the final bit of tension and completes the hexagonal shape. The final step is to guy it out. So I wrap this Dyneema guy line around the pole, over the top though, and that locks the pole and the fly in place. Wrap around the pole. Each guy comes with a line lock, which to release, just lift it, and to tighten it, you just pull it up, and it's really easy to add tension. So that's all the guy lines tensioned up. There are a couple of tie outs on the other panels. Let's just secure the tent that little bit more. It also lifts it up a little bit for ventilation. Everything's double stitched and the seams are fully taped. There's 2 doors. So there's one here which is facing that in the morning, and we have one at this side which is facing that view of Ullswater. The edges of the doors got a storm flap. It's held in place with a bit of Velcro at the bottom. This is a nice touch. There's an elasticated edge along here which fits nicely around the curve of the door. Each of the smaller panels has their Naturehike logo. The Cloud Peak is advertised as a 4-season tent, which I'm sure you can use in 4 seasons in the UK, but this gap at the bottom doesn't make it a true 4-season tent, as a heavy downpour of snow would definitely creep underneath there. Let's take a look inside, shall we? So release the Velcro. Every zip has got a piece of Dyneema, so you can easily reach it. The zips easily flow. There is a little tab for securing the door. I'm just going to roughly roll it up, and then around this side there's a loop and the toggle fits through, and there's your door secured. Each side is a very large vestibule, plenty of room for cooking and storing gear. The footprint that comes with the tent only covers the footprint of the bathtub really, which is all I need. The inner tent is secured with toggles through a hole. They're easily unclipped, so you can fully remove the inner if you want to, but I don't think I'd ever bother. Need another hand. I'm going to open the other side. There's another Naturehike logo just on the edge of the bathtub. Again, everything's double stitched. The door has 3 zips, one for the up, which goes all the way around. Then you can unzip the bottom, roll your door up crudely, and there's another toggle here which goes through this loop, so you can keep the mesh door open as well. If you do want extra door space, you can unzip this, and this is huge. I don't think I need these on in a tent. There is masses of headroom in this tent. There's also a little loop for hanging your lantern, and a bit of elasticated netting to store your gear. As you can see, it's very bright inside, especially with that gorgeous sun coming through. The bathtub height is about 4 to 6 inches, and there's another little storage area there for your keys or your phone. Again, the stitching throughout is excellent. The zips can easily be undone from the inside. And that's going to be my view in the morning from this door. And the other door is just as good. You can see again how large the vestibule is. Very impressed with how much space you get inside this tent. As I mentioned, there's loads of headroom. It's the same amount of space across the full width of the tent. There's more than enough clearance between the inner and the outer of the tent. And if you just want a little bit of ventilation, you can undo the zip from the top. The Cloud Peak is a 2-person freestanding tent with a geodesic design. The fly is made from 20 denier silicone coated nylon. It has a 4000mm hydroscopic head, and all the seams are fully taped. The poles are made from aircraft grade aluminium, and all guy lines are made from Dyneema and come supplied with easy adjustable line locks. The sleeping area is 120 centimeters wide by 210 centimeters long. The pack weight of this tent is 2.5 kilograms, but you can get the trail weight down to 2.1 kilograms if you remove the supplied footprint. So all that's left to do now is to get my kit inside. Essentials. We'll see what it's like for cooking in the vestibule. I'll get the sleeping bag out, although I didn't need it last night. I need some water for cooking. I know it's a bit scruffy, but I've just chucked all my stuff out. Single layer mattress, and there's loads of space in there. So let's get some dinner on the go. Don't think I'm having a brew yet. Going with my favourite stove today, the Pocket Rocket 2 from MSR. Wood's picking up a little bit. Oh, got it switched on. That's no good, is it? Oh, that gas stinks. There we go. Outkit titanium mug. Because it's windy, Gonna use windshield. Let's get the lid on. As you can see, there's acres of space for cooking in. I could remove the windshield if I wanted. There is a bit of a breeze coming from underneath that air vent though. I could drop that down. Today's food of the gods is chicken fajita with rice. Something to eat. So with all that fanning about getting the stove going, guess who's missed the sunset? There's a little bit of it left. Yeah, I'd say that's Betty. I do this every time and leave that little sachet in. Leave that to stand for 10. So the breeze is starting to pick up a little bit now, as expected. Tent's very solid. That orange glow. What's that film called again? Pitch Perfect? I think this is Pitch Perfect. Looks alright. We all know this sweet corn's not going to digest very well. That's really good. Very pleasantly surprised by that. So there's plenty of room to sit up and eat your snap. And there's more than enough room to cook and store your beer. So you come up on the hills for a little bit of peace and quiet. One tent, there's a couple just setting up there. There's a third. Oh look, we have another. The sky's amazing. Oh, nearly lost my hat. Absolutely loving the view. I've not brought my lantern, so I'm just going to hang the head torch. Can't believe it's gone 11 PM. Look at that sky. That's me done for the evening. I don't expect any developments during the night, so I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's a little bit bright. That's what it looks like out of one of the windows. That's not too bad, is it? You can see a little bit of mist in the distance. So there was a fair bit of wind last night, but everything is still as taut as it was when I set it up. I'm very impressed with how the tent performed. It's a bit messy inside, but there's loads of room, as you can see. So I've got all my gear down one side. I was laid right down the middle, and there's still a foot to a foot and a half to the right hand side of where I slept. There's no condensation whatsoever. But it was a bit blustery at times, so I wasn't expecting too much, to be honest. But it's very still this morning. Got both outer doors open. Just going to make my morning coffee and then we'll get this packed up. Rucksack's all packed. There's my rubbish to take away. So all that remains now is to take down the tent. That's it. kneel on it a little bit, making sure that there's a gap for the air to be released. Now I've got a nice small package which can easily fit in my rucksack. I'll give you my final thoughts on the Cloud Peak 2. It's a really good tent for the money. For those of you that know about good quality tents, you've probably noticed that the Cloud Peak 2 looks remarkably similar to a tent made by a let's say it's a high-end tent manufacturer. And I think Naturehike have done a really good job of replicating that. The materials that they've used to make the tent are not going to be as tough as some of these really high-end tents. So I wouldn't expect the Cloud Peak 2 to take a battering on Everest. But then again, this tent isn't priced for that market. If you're going to be doing an Everest summit, you're going to be spending top dollar. This tent's the perfect piece of equipment for someone like myself that likes to get up in the hills in England. I love the fact that the tent is freestanding, so I can move it wherever I want. Ventilation is really good, and there's a brilliant indoor living space, so if you go with a friend or you take your dog, this tent's perfect. It's performed really well on the few occasions that I've used it, and I was impressed with how it stood up to some of the winds on Hallenfell last night. There aren't many reviews of this tent on YouTube, but if you go and check out Stuart, aka the Scottish Wanderer, he's got a great channel which shows this tent being used in a few of his videos. So pop over there and give him a sub. I highly recommend you do your homework. Check out the reviews on Amazon. From all the reviews that I've seen of this tent, they're all 4 and 5 stars. So I'm not the only one that thinks it's a bloody good tent for the money. So if this tent is something that you'd be interested in, I will leave links in the description below for where you can pick one up, as well as links to some of the other bits of kit that I've used in the video. If you've got any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.